This episode is brought to you by CarterComics.com. It is your one-stop shop for all comic needs, whether they be graded or raw. Carter Comics has got it all. All you gotta do is go to CarterComics.com, use the discount code FREAKNET, FREAKNET. You'll save 10% plus free shipping on your entire order. Again, CarterComics.com, one-stop shop for all comic needs. What's up, everybody? I am Travesty,
And I'm the Freak Joe.
and welcome back to this freaky show. It is our month-long celebration of Halloween as we dedicate it to October. From October 1st to October 31st, all things from this freaking show and Freak Night Studios, from me and the Freak Show, will be Halloween themed. Of course, the biggest thing is our Freaky Cemetery tour. We went to Iowa this year. First one got released on the 1st, and we're going to be releasing it throughout the entire month, with the last one being on the 31st. 31st, you're going to be able to see me and the Freak Show sit in a devil's chair.
That's right.
Spoilers, we're still alive. But a very interesting experience. So make sure you check all those over at FreakNet Studios. Make sure you are subscribed over there. You're checking out as being released. And if you're wondering, when are they released? Well, the schedule was released on this freaking show's Facebook page. It got released on FreakNet Studios' FreakNet Facebook page. It also is available over on YouTube if you look at the post over there. So subscribe over there, check them out. And not only that, it's actually available on our Discord, FreakNet Studios over on Discord. Make sure you follow us over there as well. But again, all the episodes throughout the month of October here, we're celebrating all things spooky, freaky, haunting, and Halloweeny. And of course, that means the Freaky Tales is back. Freak Joe does have a short story for us that we'll be listening to towards the end of the show. But we did something last year that I kind of liked. I kind of had a lot of fun doing. And I did this with Mandy from Little Geek Lost podcast one year too. And I just have so much fun doing it. It helps my creative juices flowing that I thought I'd bring it back this year. And we're going to kick off our first This Freaky Show doing it. And what it is I have a list of 10 haunted places throughout the United States.
Nice.
And I'm going to read you the location of the haunt, a brief backstory of the haunt, and a eyewitness encounter of the haunt. And all I need from you, Joe, is to tell me if it's freaky fact or freaky fake.
All right.
Now, here's the thing. There's 10 of them. I'm not going to tell you how many are real or how many are fake. They all could be real. They all could be fake. It could be 50-50. It's up to you to decide.
All right.
Of course, I'm going to ask you for an answer at the end of the explanation, and I'll give you the answer for it. We're going to see how you do.
Okay.
Awesome. Cool. Okay. Let's start with the first haunt. It is located at the Red Dog Motel off of Highway 41 down in Alabama. So the backstory to this one is opened in the 1960s, opened in the 1960s for roadside travelers. It closed in 1986 after a gospel singer vanished from a room number 3 without signs of escape or struggle. The owner shut down the hotel within months of the occurrence. A reported encounter of this place states that trespassers say faint hymns drift from the bathrooms and to the shower, and the shower turns on despite all plumbing being ripped out. So we have the Red Dog Motel off of Highway 41 in Alabama, opened up in the 1960s, closed in 1986 after a gospel singer vanished from room 3. Eyewitness accounts state that hymns can be heard coming from the bathroom and showers being turned on despite no plumbing existing in the hotel. Freaky fake or freaky fat?
I'm going to have to go freaky fake.
Okay, it is fake. It is fake. It is made up. It is made up. So. Okay. Thank
It was really good.
you.
The amount of detail I was leaning toward real.
I appreciate that. I should probably make sure I articulate these things better about when I write them out. But okay, so you got one. Okay, so let's find out this next one. Tricky fact. The location of this tale is Lima Tuberculosis Hospital ruins in Lima, Ohio. The backstory to this one: it was built during the tuberculosis epidemic in the early 1900s. The hospital saw many deaths and used underground tunnels to transport bodies. Most buildings were later demolished, but the morgue passage remains intact beneath the site.
Mm.
A reported encounter, visitors report overwhelming medicinal smells and the sound of metal gurney wheels rolling across unseen. Freaky fact? You fake.
I'm leaning toward freaky fact.
Final answer?
Yes.
It is freaky fact.
Yeah.
It's 100% real. Cool. Okay. 2-2. I'm not gonna lie. I think last year you did really well on this too. So I don't know why I keep thinking I'm gonna be. I feel like I'm gonna trick you on at least one. At least that's the hopes, anyways. But we'll find out. We'll find out. Okay, location number 3 here, Joe. Location called Briar Hollow.
Briar Hollow.
Yep, I'm sorry, Briar Hollow. Briar Hollow Schoolhouse. I gotta make sure I get the whole name in there.
Briar Hollow Schoolhouse. All right.
It is in Pike County, Ohio. So again, we're staying in Ohio here. Uh, Backstory here, obviously, after a measles outbreak in 1943 killed 7 students. The one-room school was abandoned. Desks with carved names remain bolted to the floor under decades of dust. Reported encounter: people claim saying "class dismissed" near the chalkboard triggers the sounds of chairs scraping across the room. So, again, we have the Briar Hollow Schoolhouse out in Pike County, Ohio. Measles outbreak killed 7 people back in 1943, shut the school down, bolted desk with carved names still there, dust covering it all. You stand at the chalkboard, yell "class dismissed," sliding chairs across the floor. Freaky fact, freaky fake. Where you at, Joe?
Ooh. I want it to be real so bad, but my gut says freaky fake.
All right, fine. 3-0 here, Joe. Okay, it is fake. It is fake. It does not exist. Okay.
I would like you to know that I always consider Ohio haunted.
Ohio, for those of you who may not know yet, Ohio is next year's trip for the Freak Joe and I for our Freaky Cemetery too. So, yes, I'm excited to go to Ohio because there are a lot of historical stories of haunting stuff in
Mm-hmm.
Ohio.
Plus the
This
last
one,
3 QP burger restaurants.
oh, we gotta go to that.
Mm-hmm.
Have to go to that. Okay, this one, however, is not in Ohio. We are going to Colorado. So, at the Chaffee County Poor Farm in
Poor
Salito.
farm, like POOR.
Yeah, Poor. Yeah. Lack of funds.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So the Chaffee County Poor Farm in Salida, Colorado, established in 1891 to house the impoverished, elderly, and mentally ill. Many residents died and were buried in unmarked graves behind the property.
Mm.
It briefly served as a tuberculosis quarantine space in the 1930s. So we're going back to TB now, not just in Ohio, out there in Colorado.
Mm.
One person reported that wanderers can hear whispered prayers and wet coughing directly behind them,
Oh.
even when they're alone and they're outdoors. So we have the Chaffee County Poorhouse in Salida, Colorado, established in 1891 for the impoverished, doubled as a TB location in the 1930s. You still hear people coughing behind you, which feeling it on your neck is just gross to begin with. But if the ghost is doing it, it's even worse.
Yeah.
Joe, freaky fact, freaky fake.
I'm feeling freaky fact.
Yeah, it's freaky fact.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. All right. Number five. Okay,
I'm on a weird tuberculosis kick because of John Green's book that came out earlier this year. Everything is tuberculosis.
interesting. I don't think have we ever talked about that?
Probably not.
Interesting. Location number five, Joe.
Hmm.
Freaky fact or freaky fake? We are at the Rustwell Ferry in Beau Teche, Louisiana. Tech, the Teche. Is it Techie or Teche?
Teche.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know. Teshy's close enough as
Yeah, we'll go Teche.
as
Okay,
any.
man. Yeah. So the Rustwell Ferry, Bayou Teche, Louisiana. Backstory: in 1927, 6 passengers boarded at dusk and vanished during transit. The ferry was later discovered drifting empty, with its lantern still lit.
Ooh.
Reports claim on foggy mornings, a lantern's glow appears to glide across the bayou, although the ferry remains chained to the shore. So, in 1927, 6 passengers boarded a ferry at dusk and vanished without a trace at the Rustwell Ferry in Bayou Teche, Louisiana. Freaky fact?
I am gonna go freaky fact.
It's fake, Joe.
Nah.
I'm sorry. I think I
Got me.
manipulated you. I think I manipulated you with not knowing how to pronounce Teshi.
That's exactly the thing that I was factoring. I was like,
Yeah, I feel bad. I feel bad manipulating you, but I'm like,
don't.
maybe I gotta do something. But hey, it's my game. It's fine.
Yeah,
We're
it's
good.
your game.
We're good. We're good. Okay. I'll try not to do that again, but I know who I am. Anyways, okay. You're still good though, man. You're 4 for 5, so I mean you're killing it.
Yeah, I'll take it.
You're good. Yeah, you're good, man. Okay. Location number 6. Freaky fact, freaky fake. Where do we stand? The Sutter Mill Tunnel in Leadville, Colorado. Hanging out in Colorado. We're still in Colorado here. The backstory: a mining tunnel collapsed in 1892, trapping a dozen men. Rescuers abandoned recovery efforts after 5 days due to gas leaks, and the entrance was sealed with iron bars. Reports: locals swear that knocking 3 times on the gate results in 3 muffled knocks from far inside. So, Joe, location number 6 here, freaky fact, freaky fake. The Sutter Mill tunnels in Leadville, Colorado. We had a couple miners trapped when a tunnel collapsed in 1892. Weren't able to get rescued. You go to the gate and knock 3 times. You'll hear knocking coming back. Freaky
I'm
fact,
thinking
freaky fake.
we've done so many of these cemetery tours that had similar stories.
Mhm.
I think I'm gonna lean freaky fact.
Final answer?
Yep.
Fake, Joe.
No, you got me twice in a row.
It's fake. Yeah. 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 It's because we go through so many histories of people knocking on things
Yeah.
that it definitely attributes the story. 100. Yeah, definitely. He's like, okay. Okay. Still good though. You're 4 for 6. So hey,
Yeah,
you're
four for
still
six,
good.
man.
You're still good. You're still good, man. See, 66%. Fine.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Location number 7 here. Freaky fact, freaky fake, Joe. This is the
A rug and it's hilarious. Go on. Sorry.
the McIntyre Villa in Atchison, Kansas. Built in 1889 and later run as a boarding house. Several tenants died on site, and the basement reportedly served for body preparation when undertakers rented space in the 1920s. Reported encounters: lights turn on without electricity, and shadowy figures gather motionless at the bottom of the staircase.
We love a shadowy figure.
So, at the McIntyre Villa in Atchison, Kansas, building built in 1889, later ran as a boarding house. Several tenants died. We had an undertaker renting a space in the 1920s. Electricity going on. There's no power. and ghostly figures at the bottom of staircases. Joe, are we looking at something that's a freaky fact or a freaky fake?
Mm, man, at the risk of getting three wrong in a row, this one feels like a fact again. I got to do freaky fact.
It's fact. It's real. It is
Yeah.
correct. McIntyre Villa is real and is located in Atchison, Kansas. Okay. Location number 8. Got 3 more here, Joe. So location number 8 here. Freaky fact, freaky fake. Where are we gonna land here? Let's go to Hollow Creek Orchard in Madison County, Arkansas. Charles Hensley, the orchard's owner, was found hanging from a pear tree in 1961. That wasn't weird enough. His eyes were missing, yet never recovered. The rest of the orchard withered after it being abandoned. Reports state the same tree that Charles hung from produces pears that leak thick, rust-colored sap each autumn.
Man.
Freaky fact? You fake?
I feel like my senses are all off. I feel like I got to lean freaky fake. I think it's my final answer. Locking it in.
It's fake. It is fake.
Okay.
It is made up. Yeah. There's no Charles Hensley hanging from a pear tree without eyes. There's no rust-colored sap coming out of pears. It is fake. Okay. Joe, freaky fact, freaky fake. Location number 9 here. We got Jefferson Davis Hospital Catacombs in Houston, Texas.
All right.
Built in 1924, directly atop a 19th century cemetery used for yellow fever victims. Construction never removed the graves beneath. Part of the sub-basement remains accessible even today. Reports state that explorers hear a woman crying softly, but the sound never shifts positions, almost as if it's inside their skull. So, the Jefferson Davis Hospital Catacombs in Houston, Texas, built in 1924, atop a cemetery that was used to bury the victims of yellow fever. Victims, the graves were never removed, buried right on top of them. Basement still accessible. You hear women inside your head. Freaky fact, freaky fake.
I gotta go freaky fake.
Final answer?
Yep.
Is it because you don't think I would use a word like catacombs?
No.
I wouldn't. It's real, Joe.
No.
Yeah, I wouldn't use a word like catacombs.
Fair
I
enough.
don't even know what that means. Like, I'll be completely honest with you.
I don't
What
know
is
the
ca-
exact definition. It's like the in Paris, it's like the underground cemetery where like the bones line the wall.
Oh yeah. Okay.
I'm sure there's an actual definition, but
I think there's something like that in Missouri that houses tons of cheese. You ever hear about that?
yeah, the
Okay.
yeah, the
Okay,
government
cool.
cheese catacombs.
Okay, I do know what catacombs are. Awesome. Yeah, not a big fan of the fact they use that term to describe a Jefferson Davis hospital, but hey, okay.
Yeah.
All right, Joe. Last one. How many? What you got? You got 3 wrong, so you're 6 for 3 right now.
Sounds right.
Okay, so not bad, not bad. You got
Not
one
bad.
more. Got one more. You'll be 7 for 3 or 6 for 4. We'll see. Freaky fact or freaky fake, Joe? We got the Stagecoach Inn in Salado, Texas, dating back to 1861. It serviced cattlemen and travelers. A bride allegedly hanged herself in room 14 after being abandoned by her fiance. Guests feel the mattress depress beside them or blankets tugged at their feet while they lie awake. So, Joe, at the Stagecoach Inn in Salado, Texas. And then that's been around since 1861. Experienced the death of a bride who hung herself in room 14 after being abandoned by her fiance, who happens to sit next to you on bed or tug at your blankets. For the final time, freaky fact, fake.
That's a very believable one. I've heard many different stories that are similar to that. And because I've heard
Many.
so many that are similar to it, I'm going to go freaky fake.
Joe, you're 6 for 4 because it's real.
No, wild. I still came out on top.
Right? But hey, you know what? 6 for 4, you're so good, man. It's
Yeah,
still good.
yeah. Wild. That was real.
That
Nice.
one's real, yeah. Yeah. It's and it's weird, like when you sit and you could, it's like you said, like there's a lot of these stories of like these depressed brides who take their own lives because of a lost love and everything. um if when you really like when, for example, you sit here to put together a game for a podcast, I learned about so many like hotels and motels and stuff that people plummeting to their death because of depression and hanging themselves in rooms that that you could still rent though. You still rent them out, but why would you want to and stuff like that? It's crazy. It's pretty wild. Um,
Mhm.
but yeah, that was freaky fact, freaky fake. Good job, Joe. You got 6 for 4. Not bad. I'm proud of myself. I think two of them you thought were real, they end up being fake. So good on me. I'll pat myself on the back for that one.
Yeah.
But what Joe? What's a what is a haunted place that you know of that you wouldn't mind visiting if we were to ever expand out into like haunted places, not just cemeteries?
Oh gosh, there was a place in Chicago. What is the name of it? Cookies go away.
Cookies go away.
I think it's the H Mansion? H.
That
Holmes Murder Castle? That's it.
that does not exist anymore.
Really?
Yeah, there's actually a
Yeah, it's been
post
replaced by a
office.
post office. Yep.
Yeah,
Shame.
yeah. Harpo Studios is claimed to be a haunted place. There's a lot of haunted places in Chicago. I know, man. I know there's haunted tours that happen in Chicago.
Hmm.
Um,
I think that'd be fun.
yeah, it. I would love to do a haunted tour. One of my teachers from high school used to be. I don't know if she still is. She's not my teacher anymore, obviously. But she used to be part of a paranormal team who would go and she was part of the haunted tour. Shout out Mead, Mrs. Mead, if you're out there. Shout out to you. If you happen to listen to this, whatever. Hey, I hope you're doing well, and hopefully you're still part of this stuff. But she was part of the paranormal ghost tours, and she went on paranormal hunts and stuff like that. So yeah, it was pretty cool when she would talk to me about that stuff, and it was kind of interesting.
Hmm.
Yeah, actually, while I'm here, let's see here, haunted places in Chicago. Uh, so the Congress Plaza Hotel, the Drake Hotel, a lot of hotels, obviously. The Iroquois Theater where that fire broke out. I think Milwaukee, the
Oh
Milwaukee
yeah.
we visited. Yeah, so the Hull House. That's another one. The East Side Disaster Site where the boat turned over.
Hmm.
There's a couple. A couple. One day we're gonna expand outside cemeteries. I think we could. I was actually on our YouTube channel the other day. Got some comments on some of our cemetery vlogs and stuff like that. So thank you for those who continue to watch our cemetery vlogs because I'm still getting comments on Michigan and Wisconsin and stuff like that. I even got a comment on one from Illinois we did back in 2020, just a week or so ago, who
Nice.
recommended that we check out a couple cemeteries that are out by Streeter because we went out there to check out a cemetery. I think it was the Moon Creek Cemetery. He recommended there are a couple cemeteries still out that way that maybe aren't on the top of the list of haunted cemeteries, but definitely a lot of experience happening there. A lot of interactions happen at these cemeteries, and I think of something. You know what? Honestly, we don't live that far from Streeter,
That's
and
true.
and if we got fans who are watching our videos and recommending cemeteries, like maybe one day, maybe we'll grab some lunch, catch up, BS a little bit, and maybe check out a couple haunted cemeteries out by Streeter, and stop up there and maybe give somebody some bonus footage,
Mm-hmm.
you
That'd
know.
be dope.
Right? Anyways, guys, we got through Freaky Fact, Freaky Fake. I think now it's time. If the Freak Joe is ready, I'm okay. I'm ready to turn it over to you and ready for Freaky Tales.
I think I'm ready. This year, we're kicking things off with The Lottery by Shirley Jackson. The morning of June 27th was clear and sunny, with the fresh warmth of a full summer day. The flowers were blossoming profusely and the grass was richly green. The people of the village began to gather in the square between the post office and the bank around 10 o'clock. In some towns, there were so many people that the lottery took 2 days and had to be started on June 27th. But in this village, where there were only about 300 people, the whole lottery took less than 2 hours, so it could begin at 10 o'clock in the morning and still be through in time to allow the villagers to get home for noon dinner. The children assembled first, of course. School was recently over for the summer, and the feeling of liberty sat uneasily on most of them. They tended to gather together quietly for a while before they broke into boisterous play, and their talk was still of the classroom and the teacher, of books and reprimands. Bobby Martin had already stuffed his pockets full of stones, and the other boys soon followed his example, selecting the smoothest and roundest stones. Bobby and Harry Jones and Dickie Delacroix, the villagers pronounced this name Delacroix, eventually made a great pile of stones in one corner of the square and guarded it against the raids of the other boys. The girls stood aside, talking among themselves, looking over their shoulders at the boys, and the very small children rolled in the dust or clung to the hands of their older brothers or sisters. Soon the men began to gather, surveying their own children, speaking of planting and rain, tractors and taxes. They stood together, away from the pile of stones in the corner, and their jokes were quiet, and they smiled rather than laughed. The women, wearing faded house dresses and sweaters, came shortly after their menfolk. They greeted one another and exchanged bits of gossip as they went to join their husbands. Soon, the women standing by their husbands began to call to their children, and the children came reluctantly, having to be called 4 or 5 times. Bobby Martin ducked under his mother's grasping hand and ran, laughing, back to the pile of stones. His father spoke up sharply, and Bobby came quickly and took his place between his father and his oldest brother. The lottery was conducted, as were the square dances, the teen club, the Halloween program, by Mr. Summers, who had time and energy to devote to civic activities. He was a round-faced, jovial man, and he ran the coal business, and people were sorry for him because he had no children and his wife was a scold. When he arrived in the square, carrying the black wooden box, there was a murmur of conversation among the villagers, and he waved and called, "Little late today, folks." The postmaster, Mr. Graves, followed him, carrying a three-legged stool, and the stool was put in the center of the square, and Mr. Summers set the black box down on it. The villagers kept their distance, leaving a space between themselves and the stool, and when Mr. Summers said, "Some of you fellows want to give me a hand?" there was a hesitation before two men, Mr. Martin and his oldest son, Baxter, came forward to hold the box steady on the stool while Mr. Summers stirred up the papers inside it. The original paraphernalia for the lottery had been lost long ago, and the black box now resting on the stool had been put into use even before Old Man Warner, the oldest man in town, was born. Mr. Summers spoke frequently to the villagers about making a new box, but no one liked to upset even as much tradition as was represented by the black box. There was a story that the present box had been made with some pieces of the box that had preceded it, the one that had been constructed when the first people settled down to make a village here. Every year after the lottery, Mr. Summers began talking again about a new box, but every year the subject was allowed to fade off without anything's being done. The black box grew shabbier each year. By now it was no longer completely black, but splintered badly along one side to show the original wood color, and in some places faded or stained. Mr. Martin and his oldest son Baxter held the black box securely on the stool until Mr. Summers had stirred the papers thoroughly with his hand. Because so much of the ritual had been forgotten or discarded, Mr. Summers had been successful in having slips of paper substituted for the chips of wood that had been used for generations. Chips of wood, Mr. Summers had argued, had been all very well when the village was tiny, but now that the population was more than 300 and likely to keep growing, it was necessary to use something that would fit more easily into the black box. The night before the lottery, Mr. Summers and Mr. Graves made up the slips of paper and put them in the box, and it was then taken to the safe of Mr. Summers' coal company and locked up until Mr. Summers was ready to take it to the square next morning. The rest of the year, the box was put away, sometimes one place, sometimes another. It had spent 1 year in Mr. Graves's barn, and another year underfoot in the post office, and sometimes it was set on a shelf in the Martin grocery and left there. There was a great deal of fussing to be done before Mr. Summers declared the lottery open. There were lists to make up of heads of families, heads of households in each family, members of each household in each family. There was the proper swearing in of Mr. Summers by the postmaster as the official of the lottery. At one time, some people remembered, there had been a recital of some sort, performed by the official of the lottery, a perfunctory, tuneless chant that had been rattled off duly each year. Some people believed that the official of the lottery used to stand just so when he said or sang it. Others believed that he was supposed to walk among the people, but years and years ago this part of the ritual had been allowed to lapse. There had been, also, a ritual salute, which the official of the lottery had to use in addressing each person who came up to draw from the box. But this also had changed with time. Until now it was felt necessary only for the official to speak to each person approaching. Mr. Summers was very good at this. In his clean white t-shirt and blue jeans, with one hand resting carelessly on the black box, he seemed very proper and important as he talked interminably to Mr. Graves and the Martins. Just as Mr. Summers finally left off talking and turned to the assembled villagers, Mrs. Hutchinson came hurriedly along the path to the square, her sweater thrown over her shoulders and slid into place in the back of the crowd. "Clean forgot what day it was," she said to Mrs. Delacroix, who stood next to her, and they both laughed softly. "Thought my old man was out back stacking wood," Mrs. Hutchinson went on, "and then I looked out the window and the kids was gone, and then I remembered it was the 27th and came a-running." She dried her hands on her apron, and Mrs. Delacroix said, "You're in time, though. They're still talking away up there." Mrs. Hutchinson craned her neck to see through the crowd, and found her husband and children standing near the front. She tapped Mrs. Delacroix on the arm as a farewell, and began to make her way through the crowd. The people separated good-humoredly to let her through. 2 or 3 people said in voices just loud enough to be heard across the crowd, "Here comes your Mrs. Hutchinson," and "Bill, she made it after all." Mrs. Hutchinson reached her husband, and Mr. Summers, who had been waiting, said cheerfully, "Thought we were going to have to get on without you, Tessie." Mrs. Hutchinson said, grinning, "Wouldn't have me leave my dishes in the sink now, would you, Joe?" And soft laughter ran through the crowd as the people arrived back into position after Mrs. Hutchinson's arrival. "Well, now," Mr. Summers said soberly, "guess we better get started. Get this over with so's we can get back to work. Anybody ain't here?" "Dunbar," several people said. Dunbar, Dunbar. Mr. Summers consulted his list. Clyde Dunbar, he said. That's right, he broke his leg, hadn't he? Who's drawing for him? Me, I guess, a woman said, and Mr. Summers turned to look at her. Wife draws for her husband, Mr. Summers said. Don't you have a grown boy to do it for you, Janie? Although Mr. Summers and everyone else in the village knew the answer perfectly well, it was the business of the official of the lottery to ask such questions formally. Mr. Summers waited with an expression of polite interest, while Mrs. Dunbar answered. Horace is not but 16 yet, Mrs. Dunbar said regretfully. Guess I got to fill in for the old man this year. Right, Mr. Summers said. He made a note on the list he was holding. Then he asked, Watching boy drawing this year? A tall boy in the crowd raised his hand. Here, he said. I'm drawing for my mother and me. He blinked his eyes nervously and ducked his head, as several voices in the crowd said things like, Good fellow, lad. Glad to see your mother's got a man to do it. Well, Mr. Summers said, Guess that's everyone. Old man Warner make it? Here, a voice said, and Mr. Summers nodded. A sudden hush fell on the crowd as Mr. Summers cleared his throat and looked at the list. All ready? He called. Now I'll read the names, heads of families first, and the men come up and take a paper out of the box. Keep the paper folded in your hand without looking at it until everyone has had a turn. Everything clear? The people had done it many times, so many times that they had only half listened to the directions. Most of them were quiet, wetting their lips, not looking around. Then Mr. Summers raised one hand high and said, Adams. A man disengaged himself from the crowd and came forward. Hi, Steve, Mr. Summers said, and Mr. Adams said, Hi, Joe. They grinned at one another humorlessly and nervously. Then Mr. Adams reached into the black box and took out a folded paper. He held it firmly by one corner as he turned and went hastily back to his place in the crowd, where he stood a little apart from his family, not looking down at his hand. Allen, Mr. Summers said. Anderson. Bentham. Seems like there's no time at all between lotteries anymore, Mrs. Delacroix said to Mrs. Graves in the back row. Seems like we'll get through with the last one only last week. Time sure goes fast, Mrs. Graves said. Clark. Delacroix. There goes my old man, Mrs. Delacroix said. She held her breath while her husband went forward. Dunbar, Mr. Summers said, and Mrs. Dunbar went steadily to the box while one of the women said, Go on, Janie, and another said, There she goes. We're next, Mrs. Graves said. She watched while Mr. Graves came around from the side of the box, greeted Mr. Summers gravely, and selected a slip of paper from the box. By now, all through the crowd, there were men holding the small folded papers in their large hand, turning them over and over nervously. Mrs. Dunbar and her two sons stood together, Mrs. Dunbar holding the slip of paper. Harbert, Hutchinson. Get up there, Bill, Mrs. Hutchinson said, and the people near her laughed. Jones. They do say, Mr. Adams said to old man Warner, who stood next to him, that over in the North Village they're talking of giving up the lottery. Old man Warner snorted. Pack of crazy fools, he said. Listening to the young folks, nothing's good enough for them. Next thing you know, they'll be wanting to go back to living in caves. Nobody want work anymore. Live that way for a while. Used to be a saying about lottery in June, corn be heavy soon. First thing you know, we'd all be eating stewed chickenweed and acorns. There's always been a lottery, he added petulantly. Bad enough to see Joe Summers up there joking with everybody. Some places have already quit lotteries, Mrs. Adams said. Nothing but trouble in that, old man Warner said stoutly. Pack of young fools. Martin, and Bobby Martin watched his father go forward. Overdyke, Percy. I wish they'd hurry, Mrs. Dunbar said to her older son. I wish they'd hurry. They're almost through, her son said. You get ready to run, tell Dad, Mrs. Dunbar said. Mr. Summers called his own name and then stepped forward precisely and selected a slip from the box. Then he called, Warner. "77th year I've been in the lottery," old Mr. Warner said as he went through the crowd. "77th time." "Watson." The tall boy came awkwardly through the crowd. Someone said, "Don't be nervous, Jack." And Mr. Summers said, "Take your time, son." "Zanini." After that, there was a long pause, a breathless pause, until Mr. Summers, holding his slip of paper in the air, said, "All right, fellows." For a minute, no one moved, and then all the slips of paper were opened. Suddenly, all the women began to speak at once, saying, "Who is it? Who's got it? Is it the Dunbars? Is it the Watsons?" Then the voices began to say, "It's Hutchinson. It's Bill. Bill Hutchinson's got it." "Go tell your father," Mrs. Dunbar said to her older son. People began to look around to see the Hutchinsons. Bill Hutchinson was standing quiet, staring down at the paper in his hand. Suddenly, Tessie Hutchinson shouted to Mr. Summers, "You didn't give him enough time to take any paper he wanted. I saw you. It wasn't fair." "Be a good sport, Tessie," Mrs. Delacroix called, and Mrs. Graves said, "All of us took the same chance." "Shut up, Tessie," Bill Hutchinson said. "Well, everyone," Mr. Summers said, "that was done pretty fast, and now we got to be hurrying a little more to get done in time." He consulted his next list. "Bill," he said, "you draw for the Hutchinson family. You got any other households in the Hutchinsons?" "There's Don and Eva," Mrs. Hutchinson yelled. "Make them take their chance." "Daughters draw with their husbands' families, Tessie," Mr. Summers said gently. "You know that as well as anyone else." "It wasn't fair," Tessie said. "I guess not, Joe," Bill Hutchinson said regretfully. "My daughter draws with her husband's family. That's only fair. And I've got no other family except the kids." "Then as far as drawing for families is concerned, it's you," Mr. Summers said in explanation. "And as far as drawing for households is concerned, that's you too, right?" "Right," Bill Hutchinson said. "How many kids, Bill?" Mr. Summers asked formally. "Three," Bill Hutchinson said. "There's Bill Jr. and Nancy and little Dave and Tessie and me." "All right then," Mr. Summers said. "Harry, you got their tickets back?" Mr. Graves nodded and held up the slips of paper. "Put them in the box then," Mr. Summers directed. "Take Bill's and put it in." "I think we ought to start over," Mrs. Hutchinson said as quietly as she could. "I tell you, it wasn't fair. You didn't give him time enough to choose. Everybody saw that." Mr. Graves had selected the 5 slips and put them in the box, and he dropped all the papers but those onto the ground, where the breeze caught them and lifted them off. "Listen, everybody," Mrs. Hutchinson was saying to the people around her. "Ready, Bill?" Mr. Summers asked, and Bill Hutchinson, with one quick glance around at his wife and children, nodded. "Remember," Mr. Summers said, "take the slips and keep them folded until each person has taken one. Harry, you help little Dave." Mr. Graves took the hand of the little boy, who came willingly with him up to the box. "Take a paper out of the box, Davy," Mr. Summers said. Davy put his hand into the box and laughed. "Take just one paper," Mr. Summers said. "Harry, you hold it for him." Mr. Graves took the child's hand and removed the folded paper from the tight fist and held it while little Dave stood next to him and looked up at him wonderingly. "Nancy next," Mr. Summers said. Nancy was 12, and her school friends breathed heavily as she went forward, switching her skirt, and took a slip daintily from the box. "Bill Jr.," Mr. Summers said, and Billy, his face red and his feet overlarge, nearly knocked the box over as he got a paper out. "Tessie," Mr. Summers said. She hesitated for a minute, looking around defiantly, and then set her lips and went up to the box. She snatched a paper out and held it behind her. "Bill," Mr. Summers said, and Bill Hutchinson reached into the box and felt around, bringing his hand out at last with the slip of paper in it. The crowd was quiet. A girl whispered, "I hope it's not Nancy," and the sound of the whisper reached the edges of the crowd. "It's not the way it used to be," Mr. Old Man Warner said clearly. "People ain't the way they used to be." "All right," Mr. Summers said. "Open the papers. Harry, you open little Dave's." Mr. Graves opened the slip of paper, and there was a general sigh through the crowd as he held it up, and everyone could see that it was blank. Nancy and Bill Jr. opened theirs at the same time, and both beamed and laughed, turning around to the crowd and holding their slips of paper above their heads. Tessie, Mr. Summers said. There was a pause, and then Mr. Summers looked at Bill Hutchinson, and Bill unfolded his paper and showed it. It was blank. It's Tessie, Mr. Summers said, and his voice was hushed. Show us her paper, Bill. Bill Hutchinson went over to his wife and forced the slip of paper out of her hand. It had a black spot on it. The black spot Mr. Summers had made the night before with the heavy pencil in the coal company office. Bill Hutchinson held it up, and there was a stir in the crowd. All right, folks, Mr. Summers said. Let's finish quickly. Although the villagers had forgotten the ritual and lost the original black box, they still remembered to use stones. The pile of stones the boys had made earlier was ready. There were stones on the ground with the blowing scraps of paper that had come out of the box. Delacroix selected a stone so large she had to pick it up with both hands and turned to Mrs. Dunbar. Come on, she said. Hurry up. Mr. Dunbar had small stones in both hands, and she said, gasping for breath, I can't run at all. You'll have to go ahead, and I'll catch up with you. The children had stones already, and someone gave little Davy Hutchinson a few pebbles. Tessie Hutchinson was in the center of the cleared space by now, and she held her hands out desperately as the villagers moved in on her. It isn't fair, she said. A stone hit her in the side of the head. Old Man Warner was saying, come on, everyone. Steve Adams was in the front of the crowd of villagers, with Mrs. Graves beside him. It isn't fair. It isn't right, Mrs. Hutchinson screamed. And then they were upon her. The end.
Good job, Joe.
Thank you. Not the kind of lottery anybody wants to win.
Not the lottery anyone expected at the beginning of this story.
Mm-mm.
Guys, make sure to continue to watch this freaky show throughout the month of October. Video of the podcast will be released over on YouTube at Freakin Studios, where you can also find the Freaky Cemetery tour we did through Iowa. Or if you want to listen to the show, continue to do so through Apple or Amazon, iHeartRadio, wherever you listen to podcasts, we are there. Throughout the entire month of October, you're also going to get freaky tales at the end of every episode. Of course, we're going to do the Telltale Heart as we wrap up every Halloween season, and another story from Ambrose Bierce. I'm excited to hear Joe read. Again, follow us over at Discord at Freakin Studios. Continue to listen to and pick up and obviously Freak Joe is here with me throughout the month of October, which means Cartoon Joe gets a little break from me, anyways, because Cartoon Joe is somewhere else still, correct?
That's true. If you need more Cartoon Joe, you can find him over at the Geekcast Live podcast at violentpress.com. You can also find us on Facebook, iTunes, Spotify, and Blue Sky by searching Geekcast Live.
Excellent. Guys, that's all I have. As always, I am Travesty.
And I'm the Freak Joe.
And thank you for tuning in to another This Freaky Show. I'm out.